International Monetary Fund has defended the bailout package given to Pakistan and said that the board has been satisfied with our neighbor nation on how they have fulfilled all the criteria, the targets that were laid down by the global body. Now, this is very important. The executive board of the IMF deciding to allow for disbursement of at least $1 billion to Pakistan. Remember, there's been an additional $1 billion as well. There are different bodies of IMF that are going to ensure that Pakistan gets its tranche now needed for this another part of the loan. It's an extended fund facility, imposing, however, this time, perhaps because of the outrage and of how India also has pushed against it, imposing 11 fresh set of conditions on Pakistan. This is in exchange for the bailout program, but they've also said they need to seek a parliament approval for the federal budget for the next fiscal year with the IMF agreement, implement agricultural income tax reforms across all provinces, draft a plan to phase out industrial incentives by the end of this year. But let's listen into the IMF director. What made them give $1 billion? It's not as much about the money, remember? It's the timing. You know the state Pakistan is in, especially after Operation Sindoor. Is IMF sure this money will be used as it needs to be?
It is part of a standard procedure under programs that our executive board conducts periodic reviews of lending programs to assess their progress. And they particularly look at whether the program is on track, whether the conditions under the program have been met, and whether any policy changes are needed to bring the program back on track. And in the case of Pakistan, our board found that Pakistan had indeed met all of the targets. It had made progress on some of the reforms. And for that reason, the board went ahead and approved the program. With respect to the voting or the decision-making at our board, we do not disclose that publicly. In general, board decisions are taken by consensus. And in this case, there was a sufficient consensus at the board to allow us to move forward, or for the board to decide to move forward and complete Pakistan's review.
भारत यही चाहेगा कि IMF पाकिस्तान को अपनी $1 बिलियन की असिस्टेंस पर वह पुनर्विचार करे और आगे भी किसी भी तरह की सहायता देने से IMF परहेज करे। भारत नहीं चाहता जो फंडिंग हम IMF को करते हैं वह डायरेक्ट या इनडायरेक्ट किसी भी तरीके से पाकिस्तान या किसी भी देश में टेरर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को बनाने में वह इस्तेमाल की जाए। हम नहीं चाहते। साथियों, अब यह स्पष्ट हो गया है कि पाकिस्तान में आतंकवाद और वहां की सरकार का चोली दामन का संबंध है। स्टेट और नॉन स्टेट एक्टर के बीच का नकाब अब पूरी तरह से उतर चुका है। अतः इस परिस्थिति में यदि वहां परमाणु अस्त्र एटॉमिक वेपन रहते हैं तो इस बात की संभावनाओं को भविष्य में नकारा नहीं जा सकता कि कभी वो आतंकवादी तत्वों के हाथों में चले जाएं। ये सिर्फ भारत के लिए नहीं बल्कि पूरी दुनिया के लिए और पाकिस्तान की आम जनता के लिए भी एक गंभीर खतरे की बात होगी।
Shivani Sharma has been tracking all the latest on that. Shivani, at a juncture like this, I don't know if this is hilarious. I hope the IMF, a body that has appreciated India, especially how during the COVID pandemic, all economies were turning unstable. It was only India that was that bright spot on an otherwise dark horizon. And then they give our neighbor nation $1 billion. How do you think the new terms and conditions could at least put a certain restriction on Pakistan?
Certainly, see, Pooja, India has been raising the issue, and especially after the Pahalgam attack, yes. India had already pushed and it had appealed that IMF and other bodies like IMF should not lend those loans and bailout to Pakistan because it has been using this money for terror purposes, for funding terrorism. But now when the bailout has already been done by the IMF and the defense is also coming from their side, they are now trying to justify their act. They say that this was a review that was conducted last year. till September, and the money has been now being given out to Pakistan. So India has been quite critical of this bailout, and they have been saying that IMF and the bodies should not be doing this, because Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, in fact, last year he had appealed IMF that not to give these give this bailout to Pakistan. And not only this, he had also appealed to the international bodies of the atomic energy to be very wary of the fact that Pakistan is just not a responsible nation in terms of its nuclear assets also. So now when IMF has defending its bailout to Pakistan, we have to wait for a response from India and other nations also on this stand, who were standing in solidarity with India, especially when we were after Pahalgam, we were very clear that we will not be sparing Pakistan in terms of any kind of action that India was intending to take upon those terror outfits inside Pakistan.
All right, keep tracking all the latest on that, Shivani. This is going to be a developing story, especially if there is accountability, transparency when it comes to Pakistan. Otherwise, who knows where that $1 billion is going to go.